Hello, my YouTube friends! I get a lot of questions about OBS. 90% of them start with, can I do this in OBS? And the answer to all those questions is yes. There really isn't anything from a live streaming production standpoint that you can't do with OBS. The usual problem is doing it as a one-man show because these things can get very complicated. So you really need to automate OBS to make it possible to pull off complicated streams. Luckily, the OBS community has an amazing bunch of coders who make tools that can do this sort of stuff. And the tool I'm going to talk about today is even totally free. It's called Streamerbot, and it can completely automate everything about your stream if you wanted to. We're going to start at the ground floor and show you the very basics today to get you started. We've got a lot to get to, so you know what? Let's get to it! Maybe you've never heard of Streamerbot. It's a totally free tool that allows you to automate pretty much anything from cameras to scene changes to alerts, voices, channel points, redeems, slideshows, video manipulations, filter triggers, chat triggers. I could go on, but I think you get the point. Now, with all those features, you might think it's too complicated for a beginner to learn. Well, it is complex, but the basics are really simple, so that's where we're going to start. And don't worry, I got you. Trust me, you can learn this, and you're going to be happy that you did. Once you learn the basics, you're going to start to see how everything is possible using Streamerbot. The first thing we need to do is install it. There's a link in the description so you can download it and follow along. That is the best way to learn. So here is the Streamerbot web page, and there is a link down below in the description. You're just going to want to go ahead and click here on the download, and it will just download it right here, as you can see. And then what we're going to do is just go into our downloads page, and we can right click and extract this file. So that's all we're going to do is we're going to extract the files here. We'll just go to extract files and okay, and bada bing, there we go. Now here's the thing, there's no install. This is everything that you need right here to run Streamerbot. So you can rename this folder and put it anywhere you want. That means that you can have as many versions of Streamerbot as you want to have on your system. You don't have to just have one. You can have one for if you do different types of streams. You can have a Streamerbot for each stream. So in this case, we can call this one Streamerbot tutorial because this is the one I'm going to use for the tutorial. And then we could just go into here. We can move this folder anywhere we want, but then when we do, we can go into here and we can just double click on the Streamerbot right here. It's going to open it up for us. So it's totally portable. You can move it anywhere you want. Anything you save or create is going to be in this folder right here. And here is Streamerbot installed. Now that we have it installed, let me go over the tabs quickly to give you an overview of the things that you can control with Streamerbot. Okay, so we're just going to open up our Streamerbot here. It certainly does look confusing. I totally get that. The first tab, viewers, is going to be a tab that kind of aggregates anyone who chats in your chat or anything like that when you're physically active live streaming. So you'll have all the usernames and all that sort of stuff here. Actions is where you're going to create all of the things that your live stream does. Then you have an action queue, which is going to aggregate any of the actions that are being processed at the moment, because you can set them up to have different priorities and all that sort of stuff. Then you can create commands, and this is anything that's going to trigger stuff on your live stream. So they can be chat commands or voice commands, or pretty much anything that you can think of can be listed as a command, and you can just add them right here. Now here we have platforms, and you've got Twitch, YouTube, and Trovo are the three platforms that are supported. Needless to say, I use YouTube. Lots of people here are going to use Twitch. And you can configure it all up in there to connect directly to any of those platforms. Next, we have our streaming apps. And in your streaming apps, you can see OBS is first. You can also connect this to Streamlabs Desktop, Meld Studio, or Polypop. So you don't have to use OBS for this if you don't want to. You can easily connect it to OBS by adding it right in there, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. Integrations. Now, this is pretty much any application that is directly supported. So you've got Streamlabs. You can directly connect to Stream Elements, So you can add modifications to alert systems or any triggers that come from those alert systems. You can add stuff into Streamerbot for those. Voice mod, if you want to change your voice or you want to use Streamerbot triggers or pretty much any change that you can think of to change voices in voice mod, you can do that. Donor drive, Pulsoid, Hyperrate, TP stream, Treat stream, Lumia stream, Streamerbot's website, so you can configure stuff on there. The VTube Studio, so you can control the VTube Studio as well. Crowd control, anything you can think of in Elgato, from the Stream Deck to the Wave link to the camera hub, you can control right in here. Speakerbot is another thing that Streamerbot has. I haven't used it, but I hear it's really cool. Then you've got your Twitch integrated throwing system right here and Pally GG. So there are a lot of different systems that you can actually add in to control directly in Streamerbot as well that can enhance your live stream. You got MIDI control that you can put in right here. You can use MIDI ins and MIDI outs. Then you have voice control. You can add voice commands in here that could do different things on your live stream. Definitely helps with automating your stream. You can also add hotkeys in there that you can use on your keyboard. So you can basically trigger off any sequence of events using hotkeys that you can control directly in Streamerbot. So you don't need to have a Stream Deck or anything like that if you don't want to. Then you've got server clients for WebSocket servers, HTTP servers, UDP servers, WebSocket clients, and WebSocket servers. A bit more advanced and not something I'm going to cover in this video. And then you have your general settings. Now in general settings, you can see there's a whole list of stuff. You got your user interface, general, variables, labs, group, folders to watch, and that sort of stuff, file trails, timed actions, credits, quotes, and a C compiler right in here. And this is to add pretty much anything you could possibly even think of. You could program it on your own and add it in to Streamerbot. So the list of things that you can do with Streamerbot is literally endless. And of course, on the About page, you can read a little bit of information. You can go to their Patreon and do different things to help support Streamerbot. If you use it and you love it, why not support it? It is an amazing free tool that people get so much out of. And the only way these things happen is when we go out there and we support the things that we like. So why not? If you use it, support it. Okay, now you can see the sheer scale of what you can actually control with Streamerbot. It's unreal and kind of overwhelming. I get that. But don't panic. We're going to keep it super simple and just get you started with OBS here. All the other connections will work the exact same way. So when you learn one, you kind of learn them all. So let's get connected to OBS and try out some simple features. But first, I work really hard to try to create content that I think you're going to enjoy. Sometimes I hit and sometimes I miss, but it's really hard to know for sure. And that's where you can really help me out. If you're enjoying this video, do me a favor and leave me a thumbs up. And if it's not your cup of tea, please don't hesitate to leave it a thumbs down. Now, if every single person watching this video right now leaves it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I'm definitely going to know whether this is the kind of content that you want to see. So thumbs up or thumbs down right now. Thank you very much. And let's get back to the video. All right, let's get into those basic OBS controls. So the first thing that we want to do is connect this to our OBS. So we're going to go over here to Stream Apps. We're going to click on there. We've got OBS selected. We're going to right click and go to Add. And if all your information is just the basic stuff, the usual, all you really have to do is give it a name. Now you kind of want to auto connect at startup and reconnect on any sort of disconnect. It's just safety stuff. And all of the rest of this stuff should already be pretty much exactly what it's supposed to be. You can just click OK and wait down here. It might take a couple seconds and hopefully it will just connect. Now, if it doesn't automatically connect or it gives you partially disconnected, you could just go over here, right click and select connect and it'll connect. Now, if it still doesn't connect, then what you can do is go into your OBS here. You want to go up to tools and then you want to go to this WebSocket server settings and just make sure that enable WebSocket server is on and your port number is the same as the one you're trying to connect to in Streamerbot, which is this 4555. If we right click here and we add, we could see that that port is right here. The host is always going to be the same. When you get over here, that's going to be the same. Now, you can put a password in here and enable authentication, which means that when you go to create it, you're going to have to put the same password in here if you want to. I never put a password in mine personally, but you can always do that. Now, usually what will happen once you connect it to OBS, if we go ahead and we close out a Streamerbot, what we could do is when we go back in, you're going to see it automatically connects down here. So you'll really never have to worry about it again once you have your OBS set up in Stream Apps. Now let me show you what I have set up in OBS so that we can do a couple of standard things. I've got 3 scenes set up. I've got scene 2 is just kind of what a tutorial scene would be if I was putting stuff up here to demo it for somebody. And then scene 3, I've got a little trickery going on to just show you how to trigger some different stuff. So I've got 2 cameras in here. One of them doesn't have a background. The other one has a background. And the third one has some animated text. Let me show you what that does. So we're going to right click on here, go to filters. I'm going to just move this over here. And let's go ahead and turn on our background. And then we could just click on here. And you can see we've got some text that pops up behind me. You know, just a nifty little effect, and then it disappears. So pretty simple little thing set up, and we're going to show you how to trigger all this sort of stuff and switch scenes just to give you an idea of how all this stuff can work. Now I want to give you an idea of how to automate this stuff. So right now our OBS is on scene. We're going to right click here and go to add an action, and we're going to call this change scene. And we don't need to really do anything else. Just click OK. And now we're going to take it into the sub actions, and this is where you're going to define what you want this action to do. So we're going to go into OBS and we're going to go to set active scene, and all we have to do here is drop this down and select which scene we want to change to. So in this case we're going to change to scene 2, and we can click test and you can see that it switched. We can click OK. So maybe we want to modify this and call this tutorial scene. There we go. So we've got that, and now let's duplicate that, and in this one we're going to go and we're going to rename it. We're just going to call it main scene, and we're going to click OK. And so the tutorial scene is changing it to scene 2, set active to scene 2. Main scene, we're going to go over here and we're going to just double click this, and we want it to change to scene. There we go, and we could test it. And you can see it automatically goes back there. So now we have some actions in here that could trigger events. We can trigger the main scene one or the tutorial scene one. So these are super easy to test. You don't have to wonder what is going on. So how do we automate this so that it will switch back and forth from our tutorial scene? When we're live, maybe we're taking questions out of the chat or something like that. We could use voice control if we wanted to. So let's go over here to voice control, and we'll go to commands. We're going to right click and we're going to add a command, and let's call this one tutorial, and we'll make the command tutorial, and we'll click OK. And now what we can do, now that we have an actual command, we want to go into settings when we want to set the microphone that we're going to be using. So in my case, we're using this Camlink 1 microphone, and we could go to start listening, so that it is actually physically listening to us. And we can have a log here that's going to tell us whether we actually use that command. In this case, the command is tutorial. So what we're going to do, and you can see it tells us. And you can modify confidence threshold if you want to dial it up or back, depending upon, you know, whether it's actually recognizing what you said as the correct term, that sort of stuff. Now what we can do is we can go into our actions here, and we can go to our tutorial scene, and we could go up to triggers here, and we can add a trigger. So we just go to core, and we go to voice control, and we can add a command right here, and voice control any. We want to select tutorial. There we go. So we'll just click OK. And now when we say tutorial, tutorial. And there you go. It switches the scene. We're going to go over here to actions, and we're going to go to the main scene one. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into our triggers here. We're going to go to core, and we're going to use a voice command to take this back to there as well. So we're going to go to command, and we're going to create one, and we're going to call this one main, and we'll use the word main, and all we have to do is click OK, and then OK. And now if we want to go back, all we have to do is say main. So I haven't really been able to figure out a way to configure this so that it will voice command when you are actually just speaking in a sentence. You kind of have to pause and then say where you want to go. Tutorial. Main. But once you figure it out, it works really well. Now, if you don't want to use voice control, great. That's not a problem. Luckily, there are so many different ways to trigger an event in Streamerbot. That's just one. So we can also go with hotkeys. So we can put in hotkeys in here. Basically, you just right click and you tell it which key you want to enable right here. So we'll go ahead and enable the 0 key. And you can add modifiers, Control, Alt, or Shift. So you have to put a modifier in there. We're going to use the Control and we're going to go OK. So now we have Control 0 in there. Let's add one more. And we're going to go with the 1 key, and we'll add Control in there as well. And now what we can do is go back into our actions, and we can go to this media scene. So what we're going to do is right click, and we're going to go and delete the trigger. And this is going to change to the main scene. So we're going to right click on here. We're going to go to core, and then we'll go down here to hotkeys, and we'll do a hotkey press, and we'll do Control 0, click OK. And we'll go to the tutorial scene, and we're going to right click on here, and we're going to delete the trigger. We'll right click again, we'll go to core, and we'll go to hotkeys, and we're going to select the Control 1, and click OK. Now when I hit Control 1, you can see we switch to our tutorial scene. If I hit Control 0, we switch to our main scene. But let's be honest, you could set up hotkeys to control that sort of stuff right in OBS. What we really want is something that can trigger a bunch of different things. And that's where this comes in. So let's say we wanted to go to scene 3. So let's go ahead and add another action. And let's call this special scene. And we're just going to click OK. And in the special scene, what we want to do is add some sub actions. So let's go ahead and go into OBS. And we're going to go to set active scene. And that active scene is going to be scene 3. And we could test that. Boom. Now you can see it switched us to scene 3. And we could click OK. Now what else would we want to do in scene 3? Well, we know in scene 3 we have some fun different pieces. Let me remind you, in case you weren't aware, we have a camera that has the outline cut out. And we have another camera behind it. And we did this so that we can enable some filters here that will activate some text like that. It'll come up behind me and then disappear. So what we want to do maybe is set this text to come up and animate when we come onto this scene after a little bit of time. So what we could do is we're going to go to our special scene. We've got our OBS active scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on here and we're going to go into our core and we're going to add a delay. And you can see that when you add a number here, it's the number in milliseconds. So for this tutorial, let's add 3 seconds and click OK. So what we have here is it's going to change to that scene and it's going to delay for 3 seconds. And after that 3 seconds, we want it to activate that filter for us. So let's go ahead and bring up the filters so we know what we're looking at. Bring it over here. And we want it to start this move start. So all we have to do is right click on here and we're going to go into OBS and we're going to go down here to our scenes because this is a filter for a scene. So then we have to set the scene filter state right here and it's scene 3, move start. You can see we could select any one of those moves and we can also select any one of these scenes. Scene 3 just happens to be the right one. Move start happens to be the right one, and we want to set the state to visible, and you can see it'll do this by just clicking test, and you can see it runs it right there, and then it will eventually turn off. So there we go. We've already got that pretty much automated. So now when we trigger something to send us over here to our third scene, it will automatically run this text. Let me show you. Let's set up a trigger here, and once again we're going to just go into core and we're going to use a simple hotkey trigger. We're going to create a hotkey and we'll select 2 for this one and control and OK and OK. So now we can select control 2. So what we need to do first is go to another scene. So now we're in scene and now when we click Control 2, it switches us to scene 3. It waits 3 seconds, and then boom, our text comes up and disappears. So now we've automated that entire process. Now, maybe we want it to go back to the original scene. Well, we can do that too. What we can do is go into OBS, and we want to go to Get Current Scene, right? So we're going to go to Get Current Scene, and we're going to move this all the way up to the top. And what that's going to do is it's going to tell the system what the current scene is. Then it's going to switch to scene 3. It's going to delay for 3 seconds, and then it's going to go ahead and kick off our little animation. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a delay, and we're going to add that delay. It's going to be another 2 seconds, and we're going to click OK. So now we've got another delay for 2 seconds, and then what we want to do is send it back to the original scene. Okay, so when we created this Get Current Scene, it creates a variable called Current Scene. So it gets the current scene that we're on, then it changes us to scene 3. It delays 3 seconds. It runs our little text thing. Then it delays for 2 seconds. And now we want it to change it back to our original scene. So we're going to go into OBS and we're going to go to Set Active Scene. And instead of using this, we're going to do a variable. We're going to call it Current Scene and then another percentage. And there you go. So it's going to take that current scene variable and it's going to change us back to that scene. So we are currently on scene 3, as you can see right here. I'm going to go ahead and trigger this with Control 2. It changes us to scene 3. It waits 3 seconds. It activates our text. It turns it off. And then it changes us back, as you can see right here, to scene 1. So now we have a very simple trigger that gives us a whole bunch of different events. Well, we can do this from anyone. So if we start here and we go Control 2, it's going to switch us over here, activate our text, turn the text off, and switch us back to scene 2. So you could see how powerful this can be with just this super simple thing. Other things that you can use as triggers, if you wanted to, you can go into platforms and you can add the YouTube or Twitch platform, which will enable you to use chat commands that you could create right in here to use as triggers, so your audience can trigger different events, or your moderators that you have can trigger different events on your stream. For instance, we have a cat that shows up on my wife's lap on some of our live streams. My moderators can type in a certain command when they see the cat jump on Monica's lap that triggers an event on the live stream. And these are the kind of things that you can add to basically automate your live stream, because your moderators get to have a little fun in the process too. It's like a reward for being a moderator. This is the bottom end of what is possible when we look at the things that you can do. Well, if we go into actions and we go into sub actions, you can see that there are a whole host of different things that you can do in OBS. You can also integrate into YouTube to use different text values and all that sort of stuff. You can use the Stream Deck, the Wavelink, and camera hubs to trigger different events or to set up different types of things that can happen. And of course, you've got Streamerbot events where you can have someone remotely trigger your Streamerbot. The number of things that can trigger events is unbelievable. And you can set up an event in here that can just rotate your different scenes at random times for your entire stream. So if you just wanted to give it a different look every 5 to 10 or even 15 or 20 seconds, well, you can program sub actions that will just rotate from one scene to another at different intervals to just automate that so you don't have to do it. And then you just click some key at the beginning of your event and it's going to go and run and run and run. So you can automate your stream in so many different ways. And hopefully this basics tutorial gives you some idea of the kind of things that are possible, if not pretty doggone easy, with just a basic bit of logic and following the process step by step. Believe me, when you start using this, you're going to have to use lots of trial and error and lots of testing to get things to work. But that's kind of the fun of it. When you get some single trigger to trigger a whole busload of different events like switching scenes, maybe changing the way your character looks, and all kinds of other things. Well, you're going to love it. It's so much fun, and it makes you feel excited to be able to automate all of these processes. But the first thing you have to do is open it up and try out the basics. And then you can explore all of the different advanced things that it can do and go just completely crazy. See, I told you it was gonna be easy. Now with the basics, you can build some amazing things into your stream and automate them all. Automation is the key to amazing effects without external producers that control everything. You can still be a one-man show. Now I covered a lot today, so is there something that I missed or that you didn't understand? Let me know down in the comments below. And are there some pieces of Streamerbot that you want to see me cover in a more advanced way? Well, you should also let me know all about that down below in the comments. And if you want to see how I built my chat redeem system for YouTube in Streamerbot, you should check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better YouTuber or live streamer, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.